Okay, so let's start with aggregator today. So aggregator transformation. So this is the symbol. So it's like sigma symbol with a table. So this is called aggregator transformation. Uh, so aggregator is basically it's an active and connected transformation. Okay, so because it performs aggregate calculations. So we have seen, right, aggregate calculations like sum, average, count, max, min. Okay, so there are a lot of aggregate calculations. So these are a few. So this is active because it can eliminate the duplicates. Um, so let's say if I want to sum up few values. Okay, like for example, I want to sum uh, student wise marks. Okay, student wise marks, or if you want to sum sales of a company, okay, sales, product wise sales. Okay, so we will get n number of records for each product sale. Okay, in each region, let's say. So region wise sales we want to sum up. So we are passing, let's say, some 100 records, and the output will be maybe only 10 records. So there are 10 regions. So region wise, if we sum up, we will get only 10 records as output. Okay, and um, so it's all based on the group by property. So we have one property called group by. So all these calculations are done on a group. Okay, so group by calculations. Um, so we have seen, right, in SQL basics, um, it's like we are grouping the data and we are doing some calculations on the group, right? So similarly, here also we do calculations on each group. Okay, we can also perform non-aggregate calculations as well. Okay, so why it is active? Because the number of records passing through it are not same. The number of incoming records are not same as output records. Okay, so let's say I am passing 10 records. Each record is having one group. Okay, so each record falls under one group. Still it will, it will output 10 records. Still it is called active transformation by its default property. Default property is it actually reduce the number of records passing through it. So by that property, we by default call it as active transformation, though there is no change in the number of records. Okay. But generally, we use this transformation to group the data and find the, to calculate the group calculations. So that's why it is called active transformation, and it must be connected to another transformation. Okay. Okay, let's see the next steps. So basically, it is used to perform aggregate calculations, as we have seen, like sum, count, min, max. So all these calculations we can do using a aggregator. We can also perform non-aggregate calculations, expressions, and conditional clauses. If you want to find something, okay, so then also we can make use of aggregator transformation. Okay, so we can also perform nested aggregation. Nested aggregation in the sense, um, aggregate function within another aggregate function. Okay, so there are these are the three different kinds of aggregate calculations we can do, and we can. The integration service stores. While calculating all these things, it has to store the data at some point, right? So there are two types of cache. Cache means it's kind of a memory. Okay, in the memory we store it. We store the data. Okay, let's say I have given some input, so you have to store it at some place to do some calculations, right? Even if you, okay, if I have given something like manually calculate, you will keep all these numbers and all at some point, and you do manual calculations and you will give the result. So the place where you store all these things is called cache. So cache means there are two types of cache here: index cache and data cache. So in the index cache, all the group values will be stored. Okay, those are used for the calculation purposes. Whereas in the data cache, entire raw data will be stored. So that's why we should eliminate the unwanted data, unwanted columns. Let's say I have some 50 columns in my source table, but I want to only 10 columns are useful for my calculations. Others are not required. So we will limit the columns only to these 10 columns. Okay, 10 columns like employee ID, name, and all. So the only 10 columns, not everything. Okay. Okay, we will see more on this one. So we have this transformation ports and properties. So transformation, as usual, we rename and we write some description. Ports tab, we have different ports and properties. So we will see what are all those things. Okay, first is the ports. Okay, ports, in the ports we have like input, output, variable, just like the expression transformation. Here also we have all these ports: input, output, variable port. And also we have expression is enabled only for output or variable ports, but not in output. So if you observe here, employee ID is in out, but expression is grayed out. Okay. So we cannot do any expression, any calculations for both in and out, because it is coming in, it is going out. So no expression is needed. And even for input also, there is no expression required. Only either it can be a variable port or output port. So we can, this expression is enabled only for those things. And very important thing is the group by port. So group by column, okay, group by column is, so we can select on which all columns we want to group by. So here we are doing a group by an employee ID. Okay. So generally we use this if we want to, okay, I will tell you there are different ways we can make use of aggregator. So let's say, for example, employee ID, or let's take, we are getting 6 records and it's a duplicated data. It can be a duplicated data or it can be a valid data, but multiple entries for the same ID. For example, we have Khadar. So Khadar is having 1 entry, and okay, Khadar is having 2 entries, Brahma is having 3 entries, and myself having 5 entries, let's say, for example. And all this data is coming from source. Okay, I will show you on Excel also. I'll show you clearly how this works. Let's say Khadar's case. For example, he was he worked in a project. Okay, in a company, he worked in a project, and later he moved on to the next project. Okay, so there are 2 entries with his name and ID. And we also have starting date and closing date. So based on starting date, we can sort. Okay, we can sort based on his employee ID and his project start date. So in the ascending order. Okay, we will do it in the ascending order. I will tell you why we are doing it in the ascending order. Okay, let me show you that clearly in an Excel sheet. So aggregate so a default property is to pick the last record. Okay, let's say for example, I have employee ID, employee name, project start date, project start date. Okay, project end date. Okay, these are my values. Okay, and project name, let's say project name, employee ID is 1001. So Khader. Project start date was like, let's say it was in some September. Okay, September, same date, and end date is like 18th of 18th of October. So project name was like Mindcal. Okay, I'm just giving some random name. And for the same entry, Kader, I mean here, new project. Okay. So I have three entries here. Sorry, I have different entries here. Okay. Similarly, I have another entry for Brahma. Brahma. Okay. Here, yeah, let's take some example. Okay. Here, end date is like, we can take it as 01. And he end his project in March. And okay, March 28th. And next day onwards, he started a new project. Okay, 21st. And that project ended on so and so date. Let's say next in the June, he ended. This project is ended. Okay. And next day, he started with a new project. And it is null. Okay. So if it is empty means we treat it as null. Okay, nothing is there. Okay, so let's say ABC project, XYZ project, and now new project. So both are in the same project, let's say. Okay. So here in this case, if you observe, we have one source data. So I want to check which is the latest project of each employee, which is the latest project of each employee. So one way is we can, if this is the case, we can simply filter out where project end date is null, that we will get. But using aggregator, okay, just I want to make use of aggregator. So I want to group by ports are here. What are the group by ports we have to take? Employee ID and project start date. Project start date. Okay. So based on this, if we group, tell me what are the groups here, this one and sorry, my bad. So here, let me do project end date. Okay. End date and treating null as high. Treating null as high. Okay. So if I do this, sorry, one sec. So, okay, sorry. I can simply do group by an employee ID, but the sorting should be done. Okay. So it may not be the same case every time. So sorting should be, so what I can say, sorted on project start date. Okay. So in this case, we are just grouping by we are just grouping by the employee ID. So employee ID, based on employee ID, we are grouping. and we are sorting also. Okay, sorting. This is sorted means ascending order. Ascending order, we are sorting. Now, the property of aggregator is to pick only the last record. Okay, this is very important. Why I am showing all these things is you have to see this. Okay, so that is the property of, so it picks only the last record of the group. Okay, so it will pick this record and it will pick this record, and it will ignore these records. Okay, that is the property of aggregator. This you have to um, keep in mind. Okay, so the property of aggregator transformation is out of a given group, it will pick the last record. Okay, that's why we have to pass the data in this manner only, in whichever manner we want to get the output. So I want to see the latest project of each employee. So I will simply sort. I will send the sorted information, or I can also sort based on project start date, and I will pass on this information to aggregator. So I will do a group by on the employee ID. Okay. So in that case, the data will come and it will be taken the last record. So that is the property of aggregator. Okay. So group by based on that. Next, we will see the transformation properties. So transformation properties, here we have cache directory, tracing level. So tracing level we have seen, right? It is common in all the transformations. I will show you practically, okay, in the later. So once all the transformations are done. Sorted input. Yeah, sorted input is very, very important. As I was talking about this, we need to pass on the sorted data, right? Sorted means either ascending or descending order. Okay. If you are passing the data in the sorted way, you can tick this. Okay, you can select this box. You can select. Otherwise, if you are not sorting, you can leave it blank. Okay. So what it will do, the aggregator transformation will do, it will sort the data and then only it will calculate the aggregate functions. Okay. And this is very important. Performance perspective also, this is very important. So it's always recommended we can sort the data and then only we can send the um, records to aggregator. Okay. So why means here instead of making the aggregator to do the two works, we are segregating this. Okay, first we can keep a sorter, or while reading the data from source itself using SQL command order by, we can also sort and we can send it to the aggregator. Okay, whatever manner, if we send the sorted data to the aggregator, it will perform the calculations much faster. Okay. So aggregator data cache and aggregator index cache sizes. So just now we discussed, right? There are two types of caches. So in the data cache, it will store entire row data. Whereas in the index cache, it will store only the group related data. Okay. So for example, if you talk about the group related data, we are grouping it based on employee ID. So it will store this employee ID information there. And okay, so that way it will make it much faster and it will retrieve which record to retrieve. Okay. And the transformation scope is all input or transactional basis. Okay. So so these are the properties we have in aggregator. So it's like very important. I will show you with a simple example to understand the basics, and further we will go into in the advanced stage also. So first we will see very simple way of doing it. I'm just taking one simple example like source, employee ID, department ID, and salary. And I want to sum it up, sum the salary based on the department ID. So for every department, I want to get the salary. Okay, for how much salary is given department wise. So I want to sum up those values. Let's see with this example. Okay, so for that, I need one source table. Okay, let's create one source table. Create table. Um, employee sal. Okay, I'm just taking employee sal and columns. What all columns? Employee ID, department ID, salary. Employee ID. So employee ID is a number. Let's take 5 characters. Department ID. Department ID. Department ID is also a number. So I'm just taking 5 characters. And salary. Salary. So salary also it's a number. So I'm just taking, okay, since all are numbers, I can take this way. I'm just creating one table. So employee salary table is created. Now I want to insert some data. Insert into employee salary, employee ID. So we can take the same example. Okay. So 100, 201. Okay, what are the values here? 100, 201. 15,000. Okay, so these are the values. Let's take. So how many we have? Let's say 3, 6. Total 6 we have. 100, 101, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105. What I will do, I will also take one more here. Okay. Okay. First, we will go with a simple example. So let's say 202 and 202, 201, 203, and then 202, 203, right? Okay. 15,000, 20, 23. So this is 20,000, 23,000. Next is 19, 15, 19, 15, 26,000. Okay, I just want to show you this example. Okay, after this, we will commit after inserting all these things. Okay, let's enter here. Insert into the table all the values. Okay, so I forgot to mention these values, right? So values. Okay, so let's do insert everything. So all the records are inserted. Let's see the data. Select start from employee cell. So we have some data here. So similarly, we will create the same thing in the target. Okay, just to store the target data, right? So I will take this as T underscore. So it's a target. So I'm just taking T underscore. I created one table. Now let's go and check. So sources, import from database, and employee sal. Okay, I have taken this. This is the one. Next, in the targets. Okay, T employee sal. Okay, let's go and create one mapping here. M underscore. So aggregator, sources. Sources is like employee sal. Target is T employee sal. Okay, target is T employee sal. Okay, now I'll simply make use of aggregator. I'm not using anything else. So aggregator, if you see here, So it's a sigma symbol. Okay, so here, yeah, this is the sigma, right? So this is a symbol for aggregator. Either you can select this or you can go to transformations, create, and you can also select, okay, aggregator function here, aggregator. Okay, you can give AGG underscore employee salary, employee salary. Okay, so you can create that, done. We can simply drag everything here. Okay. So employee, okay, I want, okay, employee and department ID, I want. Now the salary wise. So I want to group the data based on department ID because I want the department data. So at the same time, I want sum of salary. Okay. So this is my output port. I will take this as my output port. So I don't want any variables. I can directly calculate in the output and I can pass it on. Okay. So sum of salary. What is this? Okay, same. Sum of salary. Okay. Okay. Apply and okay. And I want this as a sum of salary instead of salary. I am mapping sum of salary. Okay, so I don't want this salary to be going out. So either I can simply unmap it, or if you don't want, I mean, in future by any confusion, if I map this, that will cause an issue, right? So I can simply disable this output port. So now you cannot map this. Simply you cannot map this. If you are trying to do, it won't allow basically because cannot copy a column to a target. So you are trying to copy, you are not mapping. So even if you try to map, it won't allow because this is not an output port. Okay. So sum of salary we are calculating. Let's see what happens. Okay. First we will observe what happens and then we will come back and see why it is happening that way. Okay. So I'm going to generate one workflow for this. So as usual method, not changing anything. So if you want, you can create directly in the workflow manager also. Okay, let's go and see in the workflow manager. Aggregator. So here, yeah, as usual, like this is source, target. If we can make it a normal, and we can also put a truncate option. See, don't think that we have to keep it by default. I mean, we since we are testing multiple scenarios, we want to wipe off the data. We want to clean the data in the target and then load it freshly every time. Okay, that's why I'm keeping. Otherwise, we need to be very careful with this option, truncate target table option. Okay. Okay, let's run and see how it will load the data. Okay, so out of six records, three records are loaded. Okay, why? I mean, if you see the reason out of six records, so total how many records are there? Out of this, how many departments? Three departments, 201, 202, 203, right? Okay, let's see here. This is the source, right? So in the target, let's see how the data is now. So let's start from this. So it's like it eliminated the remaining things and it picked the latest ones, you see. 103, 105, 104. So it doesn't matter, okay, for that. It is only gathering the information. So in that case, we can ignore this employee ID. So we can have only department ID and salary, sum of salary. Okay, 201, what is the salary? 34,000, right? And 202, if you sum up, 69,000. 203, 15,000. So this is how we are summing up the salary. But in this case, if you observe employee ID it is picking the latest one. as I mentioned in this example, aggregator picks only the last record. So out of the calculations, group wise, it will pick only the last record. So let's see, is this 103 is the last record of 201? So yeah, so out of 201, 103 is the last record. Okay, let's do one thing. So order by um employee ID, comma, no, we will reverse this. Department ID wise, we want to order, comma, next is employee ID, right? So because this is the order we are following. So 201, out of 201, 103 is the latest. But what it will do the sum of these two and it will keep it here. Similarly, 202, latest is 105. And it will simply sum up all these things and it will keep in one record. So out of 202, 105 is the latest. So is it taking 105? Yes. Out of 202, it is taking. So hope you got this. Okay, it will pick the latest record out of that group. Okay, this is how this is the sum, right? Next we can do let's say count also we can do. Let's see how this works. Okay, just I want to count. Okay, I want to count the salary. Okay, how many salaries, how many people I am giving the salary, let's say, for example. So I can do this. Okay, so this also succeeded, but this time it will just give the number. Okay, instead of the sum, it will give the number. So how many? 202, 201 are 2, 202 are 3, and 201 is 1. So I'm paying in the 201 department, I am paying salary to 2 people, 3 people, and 1 person. So that's how the aggregate things works. Okay. So we can also perform nested aggregations. Okay, let's say I want to sum the counts. Okay, this is not a meaningful thing, but we can do some other calculations. So what all calculations we can do here? So it should be different. So we can actually apply sum of, average of, so all these things we can apply. Okay, so that is called nested aggregations, and we will also see another property here. So properties wise, as I mentioned, the sorted input. This is very important thing. Okay, if checked, input to the transformation is assumed to be already sorted by the group by ports. So what is our group by port? Department ID is our group by port. Since we haven't selected this sorted input, it is actually sorting the data. So if you see in the source, is this completely sorted? 201, 201, next 202. Oh, sorry, I sorted this one, right? So let me simply select the actual data. So actual data is 201, 202, next to 201. So this is not in a sorted way. Since we are doing aggregation, I mean group by on department ID, this is not a sorted way, not in ascending, not in descending. Okay, it should be either in descending or ascending, but it is not sorted, right? So since, okay, if I select this sorted input, what will happen? Because I am not sending any sorted way, I'm not using any sorter, or I'm not sorting with the help of source qualifier, nothing. But I selected this sorted input option. What will happen? Let's see. Okay. So without sorting the data, if we select the sorted input, what will happen? Okay, the session failed. The session failed. What is the reason? Expecting keys to be ascending. Expecting keys to be ascending. What is the key here? The key, group by port. The key is department ID, but it is not in the sorted way. That is why it is failing. So, okay. Question is, to sort the data, which transformation is used? To sort,
Sorted transformation.
sorry.
Sorted transformation we can use.
Okay, sorted transformation, right? Yeah, we can go by the sorted transformation. Before that, I will also show you this source qualifier. Since source data is a table, right? Source data is a table. We can also go by sorting. Okay. Let's say department ID we want to sort. Okay, let me select this way. So you can generate SQL. It will automatically come up with that. I can simply put order by department ID. Okay, ascending. So safe side will give this one also, order by this. And one very important thing is, we have to keep this 2 dash. Okay, hyphen, because by default it will generate one order by clause for a SQL statement. So to suppress that, okay, so what will happen? So okay, if I do this, what will happen? Even if it tries to give order by, it will be commented. For that purpose, we are keeping these 2 dashes. I will show you. I mean, even in the previous examples, if you see, I will show you in the session log. So this is the session log. So how to see the session log? Just select the session. This wheel symbol one is the session, and this flag symbol is the workflow. So wheel symbol one, you select that, and here, okay, session log. So session log. Here, if you see, even you can search, okay, you can control F. Control F means it will go to the find. You can write select. Okay, so here the query is like select employee employee ID, department ID, sal from this employee table, right? So this is how it looks. Okay, now if we apply, we will see how this appears. Okay, so we selected this and we are sorting the data based on department ID. Refresh mapping. Okay, so now it succeeded. Why it is succeeded? Because now we are sorting the data, right? So let's see in this same session log. If you find and select. So here it is, we are ordering by department ID in the ascending order. Okay, so we have to order it. First preference should be given to the group by ports. We should not order by employee ID, department ID again. So in whichever order, okay, let's say for example, I have kept the order as department ID, then I want to group by based on salary, let's say. So the sorting order should be first department ID we have to sort and then salary. Okay, otherwise it will fail. So in whichever format the group by option is there, in the same order we have to sort the data. Otherwise it will fail again. Okay, this is one way of sorting. We can sort using SQL query in the source qualifier. Okay, so I'm removing this. Okay, I'm removing and I am making use of sorter transformation. Okay, what is the symbol for sorter transformation? A to Z, right? So A to Z. I'm just creating one. Okay, I'm removing these mappings. Okay, I'm just select all these things or whichever you want to select. You can, that comes selected in red color. you can press delete button on your keyboard, just like that. Or if you want to select all these things, just left click, drag and leave it, delete it. Okay, like this you can keep. So I want everything here. I'm dragging and drop, and I'm selecting again. I am drawing. So this is how we can include new transformation between two already existing transformations. Okay. So now, okay, let me give some name. That's okay. Even if you don't give the name, not an issue, but I'm just giving the name. Okay. In the ports tab, I want to sort based on department ID. So this is an ascending order. Okay. That's it. So earlier, since it's a relational table, I have an option to sort the data with a SQL override. Let's say if it is a flat file, if it is a simple file, we don't get this option. Okay, we don't have like select star from the file and all, right? So in that case, we have to go by this sorted transformation only. So sorted transformation, same. I'm sorting it based on department ID, right? So department ID. Okay, now let's refresh this. Refresh the mapping, validate, and save it. Okay, start working. So this also succeeded. So in any manner, we can sort either using a source qualifier, or you can use a sorter. But only thing we need to keep in mind is the sort order should match the group by port order. Okay. So that is one thing. And there is one more way, incremental aggregation. So incremental aggregation means, let's say today I have processed, for the first time I have processed 1 million records to the target. Next day, only 100 records are coming as an incremental way. Okay, for example, what we can say, initially, okay, when we started any company, initially, let's say we have around 1,000 employees. Okay, all joined at a time, let's say. But going forward, employees will be adding in tens, like that, tens, hundreds, like that, let's say. Okay, monthly. So this is called incremental. Incremental means not a full count. Okay, part of the count. Okay, so in that case, we want to do aggregate calculations, right? So what will happen? Incremental aggregation concept is, let's say I have this much of data. Okay, I have this much of data. I already calculated some sum. Okay, this is my result out of this. Now I am getting only limited data next day. Okay, this is day one. Day one, I have this much of data. Okay, I'm not showing any data. Okay, I'm just representing this. Sum I calculated. Next day, I got some more data. Okay, some more data. This is day two. So instead of summing up everything and doing, what I will do, the aggregations already calculated at some point. Now what it will do, it will do a aggregation on this one, and it will combine both. Let's say I want to find the sum based on each department that is already calculated in yesterday's calculation. And today we will combine these both, and we will give a new result. Okay. So this is sum of incremental sum, and it is the overall sum. So that is achievable using incremental aggregation. Okay. So this will be asked in the interview questions. What is incremental aggregation means? We don't calculate entire data every day. So whatever the calculations already done, those will be saved at some point, and then whatever the new data is coming, we will make use of this new data and find the aggregate function, and we will make use of the existing aggregate calculations, and we will derive the final values. So that is called incremental aggregation. Okay, we will talk more about this in our lab also while discussing advanced scenarios. Okay. So this is a simple way of doing a aggregator. Okay. Hope you understood the aggregate transformation. And okay. So any questions here in the aggregator?
One small question, Shashi.
Yeah.
When we have a option to sort the data from source qualifier, why do we need to, you know, why do we need sorter transformation, especially?
Right.
In which cases we cannot use the source qualifier and we should go for this one only,
Right.
sorter only.
Correct. Okay. Let me take one example here. So where is our this PC source files? Mm, okay. What I will do, I'll create one file. Let me show you with the help of a file. Okay. Employee sal.csv. And we will take the same data there. Uh, okay. So I am let me open up with the help of notepad. Okay. So now I have data in a file. Let's take this file as the source. Okay. Let me import the file. Okay, I want to go to the D drive, info PC, source files. Okay, I want all the files here. So employees and CSV. Next, it's a comma separated, and okay, that here we have to import the data columns from source, comma, employee ID. Employee ID is, let's say, 3 characters. That's fine, not an issue. This one is 3 characters. Okay. So I imported, see here two things. Employee salary is a flat file. You see FL80 file. So it's a flat file. So it's a flat file, and also it can be a Oracle table. That means relational table. So in case of flat file, okay, I'll make use of flat file here instead of this one. What I will take, I'm just deleting this one, and I will make use of, if my source is a flat file, okay, it's a flat file, and I'm mapping these things to the sorter. Okay. Now, if we want to sort the data in the source qualifier itself, we don't have an option. We don't get an option to sort, because whatever the override we are going to give here, this will go and trigger in the database level only. So we cannot trigger the query on this flat file. So on the CSV file, we don't have a functionality to uh, trigger the query and get the data, right? So it is only possible with the help of Oracle database, Oracle table. So here, if you see flat file in the properties, SQL query is grayed out. We cannot enter any SQL query because here itself it says it's a SQL query. So that's why Here, we don't have an option to sort the data for a flat file. So in that scenario, we can go for exclusive sorter transformation.
Yeah, got it.
Okay. Yeah. And sometimes, even though even though source is a table, we still use this sorter transformation, because in between these two transformations, there can be some other calculations. So based on that calculation, we have to sort the data, if that is the scenario. Then, even though we do some order by clause here, after those calculations, we may need to resort the data, because the sorting order will change. Will change in the sense that out of the calculations, the values may result in a different way. So on that calculation, we want to sort the data. Otherwise, it will fail again. Okay. I mean, simple to say, if there is no other transformation between source qualifier and aggregator, yes, we can straight away go ahead and sort the data. That is the advised way also. Because while fetching the data from database itself, we are sorting and we are pushing the data to the aggregator. Yeah. Yeah. Any other questions? Okay. Kader, I hope I answered your question.
Yes, Shashi, I'm good now.
Brahma, do you have any questions?
No, sir.
Okay. Okay. Fine then. If no further questions, I think we can close it for the day, and we will meet you tomorrow. Okay. Yeah.